Alright, I got new leg bands in. So I'm gonna band up the 2021 young birds. Show some past generations of leg bands. This bird, El Capitan, this big beefy New York flight, this is one of my oldest birds. First leg bands I made myself one by one. So it's a little piece of copper gutter that I cut and I engraved their name. Yo, under the arm trick. That won't hurt them just for a second. Michael Scott taught me that. And afterwards I had these bands made, these metal aluminum grip-on bands. So this says 2013, the year this was put on. And then after that, I moved into plastic leg bands because I wanted to get away from the metal leg bands, thinking at the time that the pigeons might not like the metal around their leg. So by this point I'd been flying pigeons in the city for long enough to get a nickname, and everyone knew me as White Pat because being the new guy, I stood in line behind Black Pat from Jamaica. So, you know, like it or not, everyone called me White Pat despite me trying to change the nickname. So eventually I just got that stamped on my bands, got some nice white bands. These bands were from back in 2016, 2015, which was a hell of a time to be embracing the nickname White Pat. This is a beautiful bird though. Bronze model tip flip. Here's an example of the most common or typical modern band, at least in North America. It's these plasticized metal bands. So this is a 2018. It's got all different kinds of numbers that say what club, what national club they're part of, and the national registry. These bands get slipped on the pigeon's legs when they're still a baby, when they're only a couple weeks old, and their feet are tiny enough to fit through this hole. But now it's impossible as an adult to get these bands off without clipping it off. Commonly on bands, fellas will put the crew they rep or the name of their coop. They might number them in whatever serialized situation they got going. A lot of my pigeons are naked because for a minute there, in those White Pat years, I was tripping about the idea of shackles. This is sheerly philosophical, but back then I wanted to avoid possession of the birds. I mean, these aren't dogs or cattle, and even though I'm responsible for their well-being, they're not property, and I'm not their owner nor their master. They're all free to stay or go. I thought they were free to frolic naked, you know, in the great American skies. Well, anyway, those were my hippie years. Now I'm older and I realize leg bands are the way to go. And obviously there's good reason for banding your birds. So in 50 states, it's legal to kill pigeons if you view them as a nuisance. The feds define pigeons, along with rats and mice and raccoons and crows and snakes, as vermin. And vermin can legally be exterminated by yourself or contract killers. However, a banded pigeon cannot be killed or exterminated or hunted or anything under any circumstances. So this leads, in the underbelly of the American pigeon world, to characters of ill repute clipping bands off of pigeons. And there are different reasons for this, all of them pretty shady. Perhaps you're frauding the age of the bird, or perhaps you're selling the birds to live poultry markets to be sold as food. I don't know, it's all pretty screwed. Now, a lot of religious folks fly pigeons all over the world, all religions. There's a connection between religious folks and pigeons. Where I'm at in New York, it's the big three Abrahamics. I've seen with my own eyes fellas clipping bands off of birds they're moving, but they'll stop in their tracks when they find a band with an inscription that features a Christian cross or an Arabic moon or anything like that. They won't clip those bands off, they'll leave them on, because it's bad voodoo to clip those bands off. And those birds will get a chance to live, keep living. So having said that, I went and had these bands made. The inscription says, Jesus saves, Allah saves, Adonai saves. Isabella Homer, it's got a pepper head. So these bands I'm using are aluminum. You got these special pliers. You use the tip of them to open up the band. They say Babylon pigeons, That's the name of my stock. They got my Instagram handle and my phone number. And I find you could just squeeze them right back on with your fingers. You don't usually need the tool to put it back on. There, nice closed, nice and even, nice and loose. So even it's never going to restrict this bird's leg. Absolute fire ball head roller. And she's got this incredible like kind of bell neck grizzle. Whoa. Got a roller. This one's, it's called Kite when it's got the black with the bronze tips. Pink and orange, nice and high vis. This is a really exciting bird. They're a cross between a roller and a Pakistani high flyer. A lot of these youngsters are about 2 months old and they're still molting. Classic black bar. This is a very good looking roller. This one's not a bald head, even though they're pretty white. They're there. They're there. Nice and clean seams. I think this one is the most exciting pigeon I've seen in a long time. Look at that. Crazy black and white. I don't know what to call it. Splash or grizzle or just, it's just beautiful. Like black and white like that, like I guess that's normal if you fly Danishes. I know a lot of guys that fly Danishes, but in a straight roller like this, forget about it. Look at that. That's just awesome. A red almond pigeon that come from Broadway Benny's bloodline. I'm gonna get this one's nestmate next because it's a trip how different they come out. So this one's, man, look at that little touch of color by their right eye. Their nestmate's a solid black Penson roller with socks. The feathery legs like that we call socks. When the feathers get really big, they get into be boots. The orange really pops off the black. This is a really awesome, interesting bird. Look at the iridescence. Man, they're hooking something mean. That Isabella Homer's nestmate is this red pepperhead Homer. You got some dirty feet. Here's a Homer, a lace and fierce. Chill, buddy. Look at the black coming in there. I have a feeling this black is gonna molt away, but it's still gonna be like some kind of copper blue lace. Like their mama, isn't that right? Their mama is, oh, their mama's big Romeo. Here's a complicated bird. It's a bald head roller, Homer cross, done, check, with bars. I've got a lot of their siblings. They fly like motherfuckers. This is a cross between a roller and a tiplet. One of my oldest couples, Wild, Nebraska, is the papa. I'm just always so smitten by how tiny and cute they are. Not that the parents are small. This is one of those pigeons that like you're afraid to fly because you just couldn't bear to lose them. They're so special. The colors are so special. Look at that. Right wing versus the left wing. The touch by her eye. This is such a good looking pigeon. All right, for you weirdo racing Homer types, it's a blue bar. They're hefty. Gandhi! Where are they?
ran over your frisbee. Oh, dog attack.